me tonight?
Or
Lovely.
it's like the meeting that never ends, meeting within a meeting within a meeting.
That's kind of scary.
Thank you.
All right, I call this meeting of the Planning Commission regular meeting, Monday, February 26, 2024 to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Member McConnell, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item of business is the roll call.
Okay. Member Schweitzer,
Present.
member Meadow,
Present.
member Mudry,
Present.
member Kaczynski is absent. Member Elsinga,
Here.
present. Member Bradley,
Here.
present. Secretary McConnell was present. Vice Chair Hunt Proctor
Present.
and Chair Leinfeld.
Here.
Okay, that'll call.
Next is the approval of the agenda.
So moved. Support.
So moved by member Schweitzer, supported by member Hunt Proctor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The agenda is approved. Next up is approval of minutes. The minutes of December 11th, 2023, which includes summary record of public hearing case number 11-23-14.
So moved. Support.
Moved by member Schweitzer, supported by member Elsinga. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Minutes are approved. Correspondence, there is none. Old business, we have none. Public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have case number 1-24-01, an application by the Lansing Board of Water and Light located at 3725 South Canal Road will be considered for a special land use permit for a major essential service facility.
Staff.
So the applicant, the Lansing Board of Water and Light, is requesting an amendment to an existing special land use permit for a major essential service for its electricity generating facility located at 3725 South Canal Road. The expansion will consist of 3 new buildings to accommodate a power generation facility and interconnecting switchyard. The special land use permit is required because it's amending a previous one, as we stated. Last update to that special land use permit was in 2019. The zoning ordinance requires an amendment for additions of buildings over 1,000 square foot in size. Project is located in this general vicinity of the site here. The renderings also show a solar facility that's not part of the special land use permit. I think there's talks of doing it soon, but that will require a separate special land use process for this one. Applicant is here to, I guess, discuss the kind of technical details. Really, from a planning perspective, there's kind of 2 issues. One was, this is the way the special land use is written up in the zoning ordinance, gives the zoning administrator a lot more purview on landscaping than normal. In this case, Gary Bozick feels that the proposed brick wall will be enough and that no additional landscaping will be required. The other issue would be at previous discussions down in the south part of the site. The township has tried to get an easement for a connection to the non-motorized transportation network. As the discussions for this project kind of moved on, Gary met with them, I think, last week and got an agreement to do that with this. So that will be a recommend, or a condition of approval if the planning commission so moved to recommend approval to the township board. With that, I guess I'll open it up to any questions for staff or applicant.
Any questions of Matt? The applicant have any comments? Quite a few of you here tonight.
Yeah, I'm so
Hard to tell
sorry.
who's who. No. All right, any questions from commissioners of the applicant?
Mr. Chair, I've got a couple, okay. What did we do, what did you guys do with the coal residue, coal fly ash areas over there? Was that cleaned up yet, or is that in progress?
If you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, Rob Hodge, Director of Electric Production for Lansing Water and Light. So good question. Yes, we did clean up the coal areas. That area has been remediated. We are in the process of working with Eagle to get that, to make sure we've got all our i's and crossed our t's with that. Also, the ash ponds have been remediated also at this point in time. We're still working through that with them. Once that's done, once we get the final approval from Eagle, then that will be closed out. Our environmental personnel is working on that at this point in time.
Okay, thank you. Another question. These RICE generators, okay. Way back when, we had a regional power outage, which went from the Northeast and it affected Michigan. Now, the problem with getting the power back on was the lack of being able to get generators started. Okay, now have we worked through those old times and now we can, if we should have a power outage, can you guys get those started?
Yeah, so the plant itself will have emergency diesel generator that will be able to help with that also. Also, the Delta Energy Park plant that's on that site actually has black start capability too. It would be able to start. So we would be able to power ourselves to be able to start those units up.
Yeah, because I think what the problem was is that there was no spark to get anything sparked, you know, to get
Right.
going.
Back in the day when you had the traditional coal power plants, it took a lot more, it took about 4 megawatts of power to get those plants lit off. Now, the way that these were designed, Reeltown has some capabilities for that. Also, a Reeltown plant or Delta Energy Park has that capability, and also the Rice plant will have the same thing.
Great, encouraging. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim?
Question on the description of the project. You're talking about, under number 2, talking about heat rejection. Can you expound on that a little bit, please?
Sure. Carl Olson, Sergeant Lundy, design engineer. The heat rejection is just when engines go off, excess heat. So that heat is in a closed cooling loop and it goes to a radiator. It just evaporates the heat to the atmosphere. The cooling loop goes back and they start the process over again.
Now, does that heat get out into the atmosphere?
Yes, it does.
Is there any way to, I know it's probably too technical, but is there any way to capture that at all?
That heat is all the energy that can be used for energy production has been taken out of that.
Yeah.
So that heat is just excess heat before the process starts over again. So to answer your question, sir, that heat's already been used for its fullest capability for energy production.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. How are you tonight? What's the pleasure of the commission?
Move to close the public hearing.
No, thank you very much. I would do forget that. We have a motion to close the public hearing.
Support?
Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? What would we do without you, Mr. McConnell? We would need the book.
There were probably quite a few things.
Yeah. Okay, now back to the question. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I move that the planning commission recommend to the Delta Township Board of Trustees approval of the special land use permit for major essential service as requested by the Lansing Board of Water and Light as described in case number 012401 for the following reasons in which there are two listed and subject to the following stipulations in which there are two listed.
Okay,
Support.
hang on.
Amendment to add the.
Hang on. It's been moved by member Bradley, supported by member Hunt Proctor. Any discussion? Member Schweitzer.
I want to add the stipulation regarding the non-motorized.
It's already there, isn't it, number 2?
It's in the,
In the
It's in there.
stipulation number 2.
Okay,
Okay,
all
does
right.
that satisfy?
If that's included there, that's fine.
Okay, very good. All right, any further discussion?
Oh,
Okay, it's okay. Any further discussion?
Second.
Mr. Secretary, would you call?
Yes, sir.
Member Schweitzer,
support.
member Meta,
Support.
member Mudry. Support. He's absent. Member Elzinga,
support.
member Bradley,
Support.
Secretary McConnell supports, Vice Chair Hunt Proctor,
Support.
and Chair Weinfeld.
Support.
Okay.
Very good. Motion is approved. Matt, next step?
So next steps will be, same building next week, not this room. Well, I think it's across, I'll confirm if that room's available next week, but, that'll be the township board, will be the final vote on the special land use permit. And if that's approved, then formal site plan review could begin for the project. Thanks for.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Other business? We have none. Public comments? There are none. Planning director comments. Matt?
We don't kind of any light, early spring here, I guess. Nothing coming up on the docket. Peter's here to talk about some economic development stuff. That'll be good.
Peter?
Hey, everybody, Peter Menzer, Director of Community Economic Development. Just wanted to follow up a couple things. So I handed out a sheet. This is just kind of our local tracking sheet on projects. I'll call your attention to just a couple things. So under coming soon, we see Anna's House. It's a new restaurant that's gonna be in the former tin can space. You probably saw the announcement in LSJ, and other media around. They want to get started here soon, and they've been renovating. So actually the Jude's Barbershop moved suites, and they're expanding the suite that the tin can was in. And if you walk back even further, tin can moved one shopping center over down further. I think we talked about that recently. So Anna's House wants to get started on working here this spring and be open sometime this fall. So the other location in Alchemist is very popular, and they've got locations in Grand Rapids and other places around the state. Under projects under construction, Taqueria El Chaparrito is a really good taco place here in town if you haven't been. They are adding a small grocer space within their suite, so they're doing some renovations over there to have a little retail spot and some takeaway items. And then Burlington occupies a huge retail spot in a shopping at Lansing Town Center on West Saginaw. The township just issued a permit to construct a new, smaller Burlington over at the Delta Crossings Shopping Center. And brief update on that is that, well, we issued this building permit. So that's one more piece of phase one. I think there's one other building in phase one. And as far as from the township's perspective, and we have people following this, the lawsuit between all the parties that were involved in that development have mostly resolved. I think there's still one appeal pending that should be resolved sometime this spring. Then from there, we'll have a lot better idea. If the current owner that's representing himself as the owner, if they move ahead with the project, they plan to move ahead. They partnered with someone else's company out of Ann Arbor. So they have intention to move ahead with the project with additional phases. I don't know if they're in line with what came through here a couple years ago or not, but more on that soon. But in the meantime, we've got a 75,000 square foot hole on West Saginaw, but it is being marketed. We're in touch with the real estate company that manages that place, and They are looking for a big tenant first. If they can't find a big tenant, they can divide that space up into smaller. So we're hoping, and I'm pretty confident just in, you know, I'm no business expert, but just in my readings, it looks like there's a whole swath of stores that are looking to fill some of these bigger spaces, so. And then on the back, under review, you do at your next meeting, on March 11th, have a public hearing for the next phase of Canal Club. Is that still online for that date, you know, Matt?
Yes, you're right, I
Okay.
did forget about that.
So Canal Club 3, which would be up this, where we're here, up over there, we can almost see it, north of here. So it's 354 multiple family dwellings. I don't know how many buildings, I think 10 or something, on 30 acres. So that would be the third Canal Club development in this area, basically one on both sides of the highway, and then one a little bit further down here on the canal.
We could certainly use some more multifamily dwellings, so that's good.
Yeah, and on that same note, we'll revisit this topic probably a couple times or multiple times over the next year. But the township was selected we were awarded $50,000 as part of the housing readiness incentive grant program through MISTA. And the grant was written to use the funding to work on the master plan from a housing perspective. So we're gonna have that, just to accept the grant agreement on the board agenda for the township board agenda for next Monday. And then that would give us $50,000, plus I think Gary had some money budgeted for this, and manager's office had some money budgeted, but the perspective, again, I'm gonna be leaning on all of you to help flesh this out, but the idea would be we would use the money to do the land use map, update the land use map designations. I just want to kind of read almost exactly what I wrote here. It was a really short, and I'm sorry for the short notice on this. It was one of these grants that if any of you saw it, it was like, it's available and
It was
first
like-
come, first
It
serve.
was like less than 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we threw an
Yeah.
application out there and we're lucky enough to get funded. The activities I put in the grant application include assessing community housing needs and related utility capacity. That's probably the biggest thing. Before we go down any specific direction on housing policy, we need to see exactly what kind of capacity we've got, which is gonna kind of back us into both where and how many additional units we could have. And I'm not suggesting that we are getting additional units, but it's kind of like follow the data with this. So
Sure.
getting our arms around where we have capacity, what the designation, like future land use designations and zoning designations are for those areas now, where if we were to grow, where could it be, and then what type of housing could this market support? So that's kind of what that's earmarked for, and then in that vein, updating the rest of the plan. So this group had probably, more knowledge than I do on what the plan, but when I met with Gary last week, it was finish out kind of the loose ends from the last draft of the master plan and get that back into your daily work or the weekly or monthly work plan. So yeah, so we'll hear a lot more on that, and I'm working with Gary and the planning team on kind of fleshing that out and getting moving on the work. The plan would be to have a consultant on board to facilitate that, and between that and our team, we're in good shape.
Thank you, Peter. Any questions of Peter or Matt? Any planning commissioner comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So
Moved by member Schweitzer,
Support.
supported by member Metoff. All those in favor? Aye,
Right.
we're adjourned.
Like,
Oh, I think I might have to my dog. It's all right, it's okay.
it was
Peter, can I talk to you for a quick
the
second?
second, right.